Okay, hello everyone. I'm Luke, if you don't know somehow. I'm filming from this angle because it's different. The last few videos I've filmed while here in LA for SGF have just been from that angle with like a white background, and people said there wasn't enough white in the frame, sarcastically, so I figured we would shake it up and do something a little bit more intimate. You can already tell I'm gonna dislocate a rib talking like this. Okay, so I got the chance to play Space Marine 2 for like 40-ish minutes right after the showcase at Summer Game Fest. And it was part of a like private mixer event they were doing where if you were invited, you got like this little wristband, and then you were allowed up and you could get drinks and meet people who were in the show and other industry people or media and creators who were invited. And it was super, super cool. Got to meet like Sven, the guy from Larian, head honcho over there. I did ask him what their next game was. He would not tell me, so don't say I didn't try. But beyond that, I got the chance to play Space Marine 2. There was a demo there. And the way they talked about it heavily implied that this was maybe one day gonna see the light of day or make it like public. I don't know that for a fact, but it really sounded like this might eventually be a public demo. So keep your fingers crossed. Who knows, maybe by the time you're seeing this, they've already announced that it's gonna be a public demo, I don't know. But what I got to play was actually pretty solid. So in these clips that you can see that some of my team members took of me playing the demo, you can see it looks really washed out. In person, it didn't look like that. That's just how it came through on camera. What was most striking about it is that the game is very visually and graphically polished. It's very, very pretty. The texture work's amazing. The attention to detail is just chef's kiss. The cloth physics, even on like little straps of cloth coming off ribbons and stuff, super, super well done. Across the board, it's just a beautiful, beautiful game. When you're in cutscenes, sometimes like the facial animations come off as more like PS4, Xbox One era, but considering this is like a AA size game, I think that's acceptable, and it's not like it's going to really affect how much you enjoy the game anyway. So all told, really impressed graphically. Sound design was also stellar. The game's performance was pretty solid. It hitched a little bit when entering new areas. That could have just been that they didn't compile shaders beforehand, or it was a brand new PC that hadn't had like drivers updated, which sometimes is the case at these types of events, where they just like go to Best Buy, buy a computer, and install the demo on that and don't really do a lot of updates or anything. So it's hard to tell if that's actually how the game is going to run, or if that was a like issue, or if it was just an occurrence, you know. But all told, it seemed to run pretty well, and it was fun. Honestly, it felt like playing one of those old school Xbox 360 games again, where it's just like shooting waves and waves of Tyranids as they swarm you. Like, it's not anything like magical. It's nothing groundbreaking. You're fighting the same waves of enemies over and over and over again. There were a couple of like larger bugs, but not really any boss fights. Towards the end of the demo, there was a section where a bunch of bugs would swarm up onto these like radar antenna pieces, and then you had to shoot them off or blast them off with a grenade launcher. Again, it's nothing revolutionary. It's nothing you haven't tried before or played before, but what's unique is the coat of paint, and that's where I think this will separate itself. If you're a Warhammer fan, it's a dream come true. It's really well done and interesting. Now, I did run into one issue that was pretty annoying, and that is that I was playing solo. So this is up to 3 players working in a party, so 3-player co-op, you and 2 friends. And I'm sure that that's like the best way to play through this. You can play through it solo, however, and that's what I was doing. But the AI for your teammates is extremely poor, like worryingly dumb. There was one moment where there's a simple objective, which is just for all of the team members to assemble in an elevator. Once everybody stands in the elevator, the gates go up automatically, and then it rises up to the next platform you need to get to. Really simple. You would think there would just be some logic for the AI to be like, once the player character passes this boundary, do whatever you need to get to that spot so that the game can continue. But one of my AI companions just wouldn't arrive to the elevator. He was just standing off in the distance doing nothing, just staring off blankly. And so I ran out of the room and I try to like melee him, I try to shoot him, I try to like run far away from him to get him to spawn back towards me or something. And it just didn't work. It didn't do anything. And eventually once I started spamming, I believe it was the T button, which like gives an objective marker where you can like ping things. Look over there, look over here, look over there, that type of thing. Once I just started spamming that like 15 times in various spots, eventually he snapped out of it and then moved to the elevator. But there was like a solid 3-4 minutes where I should have been in the elevator moving up, but instead I was just trying to figure out why this AI companion wouldn't actually do what I needed them to do. Again, not like the end of the world, but just annoying enough to be like kind of a bummer, you know? But beyond that, the rest of the game worked really well. The weapons were nothing crazy thematically as a Warhammer fan. They were on point. They felt like you would expect them to feel. They shot the way you'd expect them to shoot. And I think there's a lot of fun to be had here. I am worried about repetition because like I said, there's a lot of the same enemies and the same bugs over and over and over again in like little arena to little arena to little arena, and it's just waves and waves and waves of them, and that can be fine, but I think you need more than that, especially if you want me to play this for more than like a few hours. We know that there's other like for example Thousand Suns, we've seen clips of that. We know there's other enemy types and archetypes that are in the game, so there will be stuff like that. But as of right now, I'm not sure if there's been any confirmation of things like big boss encounters or boss fights to do with your friends that are of larger enemy types or archetypes. Like I don't know if any of that's been confirmed, but I really hope it eventually is, because I think that's the one thing that could push this game across the finish line. Right now, based on what I played, I would be like, this is a really solid AA style game or size game that I could have a lot of fun with. It's not for everybody, and for some people they will get bored and they will just do the same thing 10 times and then call it good. But I think if you're a Warhammer fan specifically, there's probably enough here to keep you engaged for longer. But beyond that, one thing I do want to mention, there's like constant dialogue in a good way, like just constant exposition and character dialogue, and not even banter, but it's all very thematically appropriate, and it makes sense in the universe and with the characters. And I was just impressed at how steadily the characters were talking to each other and updating objectives and then sharing why they were chasing this objective over another. It was just really, really well done. And it made me confident that they were probably aware of the pacing that the player was going to be experiencing as they go through level to level to level. And that makes me much more hopeful for how they've balanced the rest of the pacing through the whole game. Because if they did it this well during this chunk of the demo, they probably did it really well elsewhere too. And I guess lastly, the fun factor. I think that's here. Like, obviously I'm biased. I'm not going to pretend I'm not. I like Warhammer and I play the tabletop game all the time. I like Warhammer as a franchise. I just do. But having said that, I do think that this is one of those like probably 7 out of 10 experiences, maybe 8 out of 10 if it's really varied and there's a lot more here. It's not going to win any like Game of the Year awards, I don't think, but I do think a lot of people will have a lot of fun with it. And it seems like they are delaying it enough to really give it the time in the oven it needs. They're polishing it, they're refining it, and I think that's awesome. Now, I'll be back in Colorado on Tuesday, and my plan is to stream on Wednesday and offer a lot more of these thoughts and answer any questions you guys have on live stream. So if you have any thoughts and things you'd like to hear me discuss or maybe offer feedback on that I Space Marine 2'd in this video, you can just let me know in the comment section and I'll try to get to those on the stream. But all told, I'm really happy with it. It played better than I thought it would, and other than repetition and maybe variety of enemies, I don't think there's a lot to complain about here. It seems pretty solid. But that's gonna do it for me. I will call it there. Thank you for watching. I love you all desperately. I'm gonna go get some dinner because I've only had Chex Mix to eat all afternoon, and I feel like someone would feel if they've only eaten Chex Mix all afternoon in the hot LA sun. So I'll call it there. Much love. I'll see you in the next one. Hugs and kisses. Bye-bye.